From the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, home to the greatest racetrack in the world, welcome to another edition of The Road to Indy. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Road to Indy. Well, the month of May has finally arrived, and once again the racing world turns its attention toward the home of the greatest racing event in the world, the Indianapolis 500. They've been racing here for some 80 years plus, and 3 weeks from now they'll do it all again. Only this time the month will feature a new twist as the Indy Racing League roars into town. The Indy 200 at Walt Disney World is designed to be the inaugural race in the IRL Championship Series that will now culminate each season with the Indianapolis 500 in May.
This is a novel situation, something that really I can't equate to anything that has happened in the history of motor racing, to have something called a league in motor racing. We have leagues in football and baseball and basketball and hockey and all that, but never really a league idea in motor racing.
The Indy Racing League will be an entirely oval-based series, the idea being to restore the heritage of oval track racing upon which the Indianapolis 500 was built.
Oval racing is obviously typically American, and it was originally founded in the United States, and we've taken it to the highest level at Indianapolis. I don't think there's been quite enough emphasis on it over the years.
The Indianapolis Motor Speedway has been a part of the motorsports world for 80 years now, and we take that very seriously, and we felt that in order to be around for another 80 years, that we needed to take a hard look at where we were and at what level we were contributing.
With 3 races in its first season of operation, one of the primary goals of the IRL will be to encourage the careers of young American race drivers within the IndyCar ranks.
There's a pool of talent out there that far exceeds 20 drivers in this country who can make great Indy racing cars go around ovals all over the world.
I'm sad to see so many of our tremendous drivers ending up in NASCAR. It's a great series, and I go to all their races, but they don't need all of the best drivers. I'd like to see a few of them come to open wheel.
The concern being that Indianapolis car racing was created near the turn of the century as oval track competition, that's what the Indianapolis 500 is all about, and that the door is shutting on American oval track aspirants hoping to get to Indianapolis.
I think it's going to be a good thing for a lot of the midget and sprint car drivers and championship dirt car drivers. It gives them a chance to go show people what they can do.
We're all in favor of the foreign drivers competing, but we need a good balance, and I think if we get more oval tracks, we'll start bringing some of the young Americans up who have learned their skills on ovals, and that's maybe one of the main reasons behind the IRL.
IRL's objective of an oval-based series is predicated on the foundation that there are simply too many road and street horses presently offered. Often that leads to a lack of passing, which in turn translates to a lack of excitement for the spectators.
I'm not saying they're right or wrong, or that I'm right or wrong. I'm just saying that this is what I believe, and it's what I've embarked on, and I've gotten a lot of support from people that believe the same thing.
That's what made Indianapolis oval racing. It wasn't the street racing, you know, good road courses, but, you know, street racing, all that's Formula One, and that's not Indy type of racing.
We think that there are more than just 15 markets in the United States. The United States has almost 300 million people. There were 15 races in the IndyCar series 50 years ago, and I think that this is an expansion of racing. It's good for racing, and I think that anybody who thinks that the 2 series is bad, you know, would have thought that expanding the NFL beyond 8 teams was bad back in the 1960s when the AFL came along.
The differences between the present kart format and the IRL are numerous. No franchise fees are charged to teams in the IRL, And the idea for this in future years is a reduction in costs, making racing more affordable to the smaller teams.
We think that while racing is, and IndyCar racing particularly, is always going to be an expensive sport, it's now gotten to the point that the dollars are more a factor than all the other elements that go into the program. And the way you do that, or the way our solution for solving that, is we want to reduce the total cost of racing cars out on the track.
Beginning in 1997, the IRL will switch to normally aspirated V8 power plants, intended to slow speeds and cut costs. Switching to the production-based 4-liter motors found in some passenger cars will eliminate turbochargers and pop-off valves, and allow teams to work on their own engines, while encouraging more manufacturers to join the Indianapolis car ranks.
We don't want the technology to disappear, but we want teams and drivers, when they come to an Indy Racing League race, to feel that they're rolling out on a field. They've got an equal opportunity. If they perform well, they've got a chance to win a race.
With objectives clearly in hand, the Indy Racing League set off. Now, unlike the years past, the IRL will crown its champion each year at the conclusion of the running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race. And the first step on the road to naming that champion was the IRL's inaugural race, the Indy 200 at Walt Disney World.
Created to showcase oval track auto racing, the Indy Racing League kicks off its magical season with 3 days of hot racing action in Orlando.
It's going to be great. You know, I mean, already the first day just warm-ups, and there's already people here.
Designed to increase opportunities in Indy-style cars for drivers, owners, sponsors, and fans, the inaugural Indy Racing League venue is met with tremendous excitement by the drivers.
This has been a dream come true for me. You know, without Tony George in the IRL, I don't think I'd even have an opportunity to come run Indy cars.
It's given a lot of drivers like myself an opportunity to be here.
The fans are going to love it.
There's a good atmosphere. There's a lot of people out here. Getting the involvement of Indianapolis and Disney World is a great association, and you can see it with the results.
And I can tell you, there's a lot of guys that are going to be out here racing hard.
It's pretty amazing that they have a track here. I mean, this place is so big. I mean, I've yet to see any other part of the park. And when we take that flag tomorrow, it's going to be a big moment for Tony Stewart.
It's going to be an exciting race, believe me.
This is a great event. I mean, where else would you want to run besides Indianapolis and Walt Disney World?
While final preparations were made to this year's IRL pace car, the Oldsmobile Aurora, the drivers found time to mingle with the fans, sign autographs, and much like their NASCAR counterparts, help cultivate both new fans and old.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Friday's Indy 200 qualifying leaves a few surprises. Consisting of the fastest of 2 laps, Indy Lights veteran Buzz Calkins quickly surpasses Robbie Buell's brand new track record with a lap of over 175 miles per hour. 1990 Indy 500 winner Arie Luyendyk isn't about to let the young Lions steal the show and rips off a lap at better than 177. Buddy Lazier has 2 Indy 500s under his belt, and this season drives for Ron Hemmelgarn. Lazier's lap of 181.388 miles per hour is the fastest of the afternoon and gives him his first ever IndyCar pole.
Seems great. I mean, when you're on the pole, you got to feel good.
Richie Hearn joins the IRL fresh on the heels of a Toyota Atlantic Championship. The 25-year-old California native scorches Disney's 1-mile tri-oval at almost 181 miles per hour. Good enough for the front row.
I'm just a racing fanatic. I've been doing it all my life. I wouldn't know what I would do without it.
Tony Stewart eases John Menard's 3rd entry into the field, out-qualifying his 2 IndyCar veteran teammates, Scott Brayton and Eddie Cheever, in the process.
Now that we got through qualifying, now we go over and worry about the race, and that's the main thing. We just want to get through all the practice and all the qualifying to get to the race.
And Roberto Guerrero, with 4 top 5 finishes at Indianapolis to his credit, posts the 3rd quickest time of the day, despite a wiggle in turn 3. A day of positives is not without its share of anxiety. In the morning practice, Eliseo Salazar hits the outside wall in turn 3, sending him on a wild ride down the main stretch. Salazar injures his leg in the incident and will miss the race. Just before the end of the day, Richie Hearn and Eddie Cheever tangle in turn 1. Cheever has a backup for tomorrow's race, but Hearn does not. A page from the past emerges, and camaraderie is alive and well. Hearn borrows a chassis from Pagan Racing, and both will start the race. Race morning. The playing field has been readied. The fans enter the giant stadium, and the anticipation reaches new levels.
Oh, it's really beautiful. Really great.
I couldn't believe the people coming in here early this morning at 8:30 when I come in here. The only other place that I've ever seen so many people here early and coming in was the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
8 rookies add to a field rich in talent, depth, and guts. Each hoping to land a spot in the history books.
You bet. I would like to introduce the Vice Chairman of the Board of the Walt Disney Company, Roy E. Disney.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
The dream is real. The green flag is out from Wayne Sweeney, and Buddy Lazier jumps into the lead.
The race goes green, and Buddy Lazier leads the first lap in Indy Racing League history. He will lead the first 28. Richie Hearn started 19th after yesterday's mishap, but by lap 17, he's running 7th. 1 lap later, Hearn slides in turn 2. A remarkable charge to the front ends in disappointment. The green waves again, and Tony Stewart catches Arie Luyendyk for 2nd.
The green flag is out, and Tony Stewart goes for 2nd place.
Not a likely position on the high side going through turn 1. He makes it stick, and he has 2nd position. That is a gutsy move by a rookie.
5 laps later, Stewart passes Buddy Lazier in turn 2, and the race has its 2nd leader of the day.
Tony Stewart has passed Buddy Lazier over in turn number 2 and has taken the lead of this event.
Lazier pits, a victim of bad brakes.
There's no question about it. It was the fastest race car on the track, and it would have been all day. I could go, anywhere that I wanted, but I just couldn't steer the car. And finally, it let go where I was going down the straightaway with full opposite lock, facing the wrong direction. So it just couldn't continue.
Lap 60, and Buzz Calkins now trails Tony Stewart by just a 1/10 of a second. Arie Luyendyk runs 3rd, and Roberto Guerrero 4th. The mixture of youth and experience is part of the IRL's stand.
And now Calkins makes his move on Stewart.
Calkins catches Stewart for the lead, and the Indy 200 has its 3rd leader of the race. On lap 70, Calkins pits for the first time.
He's in the very first pit box. The Bradley Motorsports crew goes to work. Here's another rookie driver.
Arie Luyendyk, out of fuel, does likewise 2 laps later.
Arie Luyendyk. Whoops, he stalls the engine. Luyendyk stalls the engine. That's got to be a gearbox problem now, and it's serious for Arie Luyendyk.
Lap 143, leader Buzz Calkins pits for the 2nd time today. Roberto Guerrero, running 2nd, does likewise, but Guerrero stalls exiting the pits, and Stewart is back in 2nd. Stan Waddles, running 4th, spins and hits the inside wall. Waddles is okay, and the race goes green again on lap 152.
As we go back to green flag racing with Buzz Calkins at the start of the field.
The 2 young Lions continue to do battle. Calkins' lead over Stewart is less than 3 seconds.
30 laps to go. You're in the lead. How's it coming along?
Well, we're hanging in there. We got Tony Stewart right behind us, but we hope we can hold our lead.
A.J. Foyt has 3 drivers entered in the field. But on lap 178, Davey Hamilton, running 6th, goes high in turn 2 and slides along the wall.
A yellow, Bob.
And a yellow flag is out. We'll tell you about there will be 16 laps to go in the Indy 200 at Walt Disney World, presented by Aurora. Here comes Calkins off the 3rd corner, and the green flag is out, and here we go. Stewart looking down low to Roberto Guerrero, but unable to make a pass on him yet as Calkins sets sail quickly, just as he has in the previous time. Oh, we have a crash down in turn 1.
2 cars in Bob. One is Cheever. Another car, the 41 car.
Looks like it's Scott Sharp.
Scott Sharp in 41, Eddie Cheever. This is the same place where Eddie got in trouble yesterday.
Tony Stewart rushes the wall, avoiding the cleanup. But team manager Larry Curry patiently guides his untested prize rookie towards the restart.
Well, part of it sometimes, son, you can just left foot brake a little bit and put some throttle on, and it'll keep it.
The yellow bunches the field and creates a checkered flag shootout only Disney could hope for.
6 to go. The green is out, and Buzz Calkins is challenged by Tony Stewart into turn number 1. Stewart is right there within a car length.
The fans on their seats, fist raised in the air. They are cheering. Both these guys are 24 years of age. Both these guys originally started in go-karts. I wonder if they've actually competed against each other in go-karts many years ago.
It's about a 5-car length advantage for Buzz Calkins in turn number 2 once again. Tony Stewart is stalking him. This will complete lap number 196. We've got 4 to go, and Calkins is doing a tremendous job holding off the challenge of Stewart.
They've sold lots of souvenirs here at Disney World. What they really haven't sold many of are seat cushions, because these fans have not used them this afternoon. They have been on their feet from start to finish. They're on their feet now. They're cheering.
Here they come off of corner number 3. The checkered flag waves, and Buzz Calkins has won the Indy 200 at Walt Disney World Speedway, presented by Aurora, with about a second victory over Tony Stewart.
Oh, this is great. I think I'm still kind of in shock. I don't think we expected to be here at the finish line. I knew we could do well, but no, I'm very excited.
Tony Stewart finishes second. A Cinderella finish for a superstar in the making.
Everybody's put so much effort into this race, and so many people have worked so hard to get the IRL established and get it off the ground that, you know, it was an honor to be a part of the first running of it.
Today we were second, but there's some wins here very soon, I got the feeling. Calkins better watch out in Phoenix, because we're coming after him.
Robbie Buell finishes third. A tremendous effort for Beck Motorsports and their young rookie.
Oh, you know, our plan today was just to keep going forward and hopefully not going back and not make any mistakes. Gives ourselves a little margin, and Greg Beck and his whole team, the SUNY group, did an excellent job, and we knew we were getting along in practice in terms of Greg and I understanding each other, and it's paying off.
A new generation of drivers and excitement. A rekindling of American oval track traditions, and an effort to make Indy-style racing affordable once again. That's what the Indy Racing League is all about. The Indy 200 at Walt Disney World was the first step in fulfilling a dream, and the first step on the road towards the ultimate brass ring, the Indianapolis 500.
Okay, you've won the Indy 200 at Walt Disney World. Where are you going to go to now?
Going to Indy.
As soon as we heard about these tickets, we said, put our name on a list. We're there.
I thought that it was the most fantastic, exciting thing that I've done in a long, long time. And I've done some pretty cool stuff lately, like flying an F-16 simulator. This beats that.
Fantastic. Absolutely wonderful. Great addition. We needed this. Absolutely.
I've been very stunned by the sheer speed.
Fast, man. Unbelievably fast. They're awesome.
Every seat seems to be a good seat. You can almost see the whole track, and it's really a great situation.
This was really cool. We really, really enjoyed it.
Well, I'm all for IRL. I'm planning on going to all the races. I like the concept of it, getting back to cutting expenses somewhat, getting back to the basics, and I really all for it.
Incredible. Totally incredible.
What we saw today was what the IRL is all about.
We had two guys fighting for the lead, and it was interesting because we had two different disciplines. We had a road racer, oval racer from Buzz Calkins, and a midget sprint car driver from Tony Stewart, and they drove their heart outs right to the end, and I was proud of both of them.
I don't know who it is out there that's saying the negative things, but they better take a second look, because this is a very positive program. You've got a lot of depth here with drivers.
There's just been so much made of this, you know? It's like, grow up, everybody. The world's bigger. Racing is bigger. There's now more opportunity for drivers. There's drivers out there. I mean, we didn't have to go to the bottom of the barrel to get them, you know. I mean, these are good race car drivers, and you know, let's get on with it.
I've been saying for a year, the hardest thing to do is to say what you're going to do. Now we can say what we did, and what we did, we liked.
I'm just really proud of all these guys that came out here and made it a reality.
Coming from New Jersey,
and I'm down here for this race, and I will be at Indy, not Michigan. I will be at Indy on May 26th.
With Disney a success, many of the drivers began testing here at the world's most famous oval in anticipation of this year's Indianapolis 500, and a chance to be part of the tradition that can only be Indianapolis. But before that can happen, the drivers head west for the second stop on the road to Indy, Phoenix International Raceway. Traditionally the fastest one-mile oval in the land, PIR holds true to form, and before the week is out, records have been broken. Temperatures are quite a bit warmer than they were for the IRL's test in the West a few weeks earlier. But that doesn't keep the teams and drivers from enjoying a few rounds of golf and laughs, all in the name of charity.
I'm just out here to have fun, drive around in the golf cart and whack a few balls, and I mean whack.
Scott Brayton's new shorter haircut got a lot of attention, especially from his teammates.
Just a performance issue.
Not an IRL badge of courage or anything.
No, I don't like looking like a cue ball, so I'll let him do that.
It's a good opportunity for everyone to unwind before the race weekend starts.
Yeah, I love golf. I think it's the only other thing I devote probably just as much time to golfing as I do to my racing, and maybe someday when I'm in the 50s or whatever, I could play on the senior tour just for the fun of it.
While some enjoy the links, most are looking forward to the weekend's biggest event, the race.
Oh, it's awesome. You know, the little bull ring, you know, it's fast. I've raced here the last 6 years now, and there's been times when it's been a great weekend, and there's times when I've left here pulling my hair out.
I love coming here. It's a great track. It's fast. It gives you a lot of feedback to the driver.
I think for this race, really points are very important, just for the championship.
Having a good setup is really what makes the key for winning here.
The one thing that affects this place a lot is the conditions. So if we can stay on top of all that, I'm psyched.
This is a very, very competitive series. I mean, the times and testing have been blindingly fast. Not just one or two. It's like 5, 6, 7, 8 people that are really, really fast.
I think you're going to see real high speeds in qualifying.
What are we going to see for a pole this weekend?
I don't know. A lot's going to depend on the weather. I think the record will be broken.
I'd like to make one prediction is that I'm going to win this race.
I know there's a lot of tough guys here, but I feel that we can win this race.
I think we can.
Well, I will have to predict that we'll win again, but if not, we're going to be right up there in the top. So.
Got a lot of guys predicting a win.
I know. I think you probably got about 30 of them right now, don't you?
You know, every time you're racing, I mean, I don't care who you are. I mean, the reason you're out here is to win. If you're not, then you might as well not show up.
Friday's practice goes smoothly. Team Menard's Tony Stewart, the day's fastest at better than 180 miles an hour. The new aluminum Menard V6 power plant is seemingly ready for its biggest test to date.
We just want to qualify solid in the show, and if we qualify fast enough to be on the pole, that's great.
The afternoon session is not as kind. Eddie Cheever and Stan Wattles find the wall. Both drivers will not be cleared to race tomorrow. Late in the afternoon, Buddy Lazier loses a side panel on the rear wing, and Lazier and Lynn St. James tangle in turn 2. Lazier, too, will have to sit this one out. With visions of a record-setting pole in their dreams, the drivers head for home. Pole day is right around the corner. Saturday's weather dawns more of the same as gusty winds continue. Richie Hearn proves that he means business. The Della Penna Motorsports driver tames the 1-mile PIR oval for a new official track record at almost 183 miles an hour.
Yes, a new track record, 182.797. Oh!
Yeah, I know what the track record is. That's one thing I was going for, but there's a bunch of other guys out there. Ari could beat it.
Mike Groff is the first of 3 A.J. Foyt cars to qualify. He'll line up 7th.
It's a long race, similar to Orlando, 200-mile race. I think we got a good shot.
Scott Sharp blasts his way over the 180-mile-an-hour mark. The second Foyt driver to qualify up front, Sharp will start 6th.
We're really pumped up. It's the fastest we've gone all week, and it's the time when you want to go the fastest, so we're pretty excited.
The speeds continue to climb, and Scott Brayton and Team Menard hit 180.334, good enough for the 5th slot.
I think that we're ready to go race.
Arie Luyendyk was the fastest in the morning session, and this afternoon, the Scottsdale veteran gives the home fans a treat.
On the pole, there it is, another new track record, 183.599. Indeed, we are getting set up to have the fastest field in the history, the 32-year history of this racetrack.
So far, I'm really happy with it, of course. We are here to win, and this is the place to start from.
1987 Phoenix winner Roberto Guerrero has been quick all week. Today, he almost catches Luyendyk. He'll start 3rd.
It's not quite as up front as I would like to, but, you know, the mentality of this weekend was really to try and do a lot of work setup, work preparation, and just get it in the race.
Only Tony Stewart has a shot at catching Luyendyk. Despite a great run, Stewart lines up 4th.
All the guys that qualified ahead of us today have qualified ahead of us at Orlando, and we got by them, so I think we got a good shot at winning this thing.
A race winner here at Phoenix International Raceway in 1991, Arie Luyendyk's record-setting pole is worth $10,000 from True Value. While the drivers once again find time to interact with the racing fans here in Phoenix, they take assurance in the fact that 6 different cars have exceeded the 180-mile-an-hour barrier in qualifying. Twice the number in this same race only a year ago. Race morning. The fans once again flock to the Giant Stadium, anxious to catch a glimpse of these rising stars. Some old faces and some new. There's Johnny Enzer, nephew of 3-time Indy 500 winner Bobby Enzer. Michel Jourdain Jr., whose uncle Bernard Jourdain was co-rookie of the year at Indianapolis back in 1989. And Jim Guthrie, owner of a new McDonald's sponsorship, about to live out a lifelong dream. But more importantly, there's a sense of camaraderie present, of togetherness, a theme that hasn't been seen since the golden ages of IndyCar racing.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
They come off of the 4th turn. Green flag is out. Here we go.
And from the pole, Arie Luyendyk smoothly. A nice clean line through 4 and onto the straight.
Arie Luyendyk leads the first lap. He'll lead the first 24. 2 laps later, Buzz Calkins spins in turn 2, and the race has its first caution of the day.
The yellow on the racetrack already. A car is spinning out of control on the backstretch.
Calkins pits and is back in the race. The race goes green on lap 9. Luyendyk continues to lead, but his margin over the second-place Roberto Guerrero is shaky. Arie's car is loose.
In lap traffic, Arie Luyendyk lost part of his lead.
Tony Stewart makes his move as he battles Guerrero for second. On lap 21, Stewart catches Roberto in turn 2.
And a pass for second, Tony Stewart through the dogleg, goes under Guerrero into turn 3. He has second position in the Lola Menard. He set sail for Arie Luyendyk.
4 laps later, Stewart gets Luyendyk for the lead.
They are literally nose to tail, his nose up underneath the rear wing of Luyendyk. So the young rookie from Rushville, Indiana, has a look at the inside to the dog leg. Elects not to make the pass there. Here is the only driver in the history of the United States Auto Club to win the Silver Crown, the Sprint Car, and the Midget Championship. Here he comes. Here he comes on the inside down the front, but he hasn't. And Tony Stewart will lead lap 25.
Arie Luyendyk's car is still struggling, and Richie Hearn gets past him for second.
Now it's about 3 car lengths between the two, with only 1 car between them on the back straightaway. Stewart was going low in 1 and got pinched off. Now Hearn goes high into 3, and now he's right on the tail of Stewart, who's underneath 2 cars in turn 4. What a dice.
Lap 33, and Michel Jourdain Jr. is in the wall.
And a yellow on the racetrack. A car spinning up in turn 3, entering turn 4.
Fermin Velez collects Roberto Guerrero in the aftermath. Leader Stewart pits under the yellow, but the stop is a lengthy one. And Richie Hearn becomes the 3rd leader of the race.
Oh, and Hearn
spins.
Hearn is accelerating.
The turbocharger kicked in and he spun entering turn 4. So the yellow remains out.
We have plenty of fuel on board, so we thought we'll go ahead and leave him out there, but on the restart, the car must have had, the tires must have had some debris on them and got away from him.
Hearn's mishap moves Scott Sharp to first, and A.J. Foyt's crew is on top for the first time today.
What did Scott Sharp get a start?
Out of a
He's
cannon.
300 yards. He's in 4, and the rest of the cars are in 3. What a start for Scott Sharp.
A.J. Foyt's drivers run 1, 2, 3 and are looking at a possible podium sweep. Tony Stewart, running 5th after the long pit stop, resumes his charge to the front. And on lap 61, he catches Robbie Buell for 4th.
And there he goes around Robbie Buell. So Stewart, who fell back tonight, now in 4th place.
Suddenly, Scott Brayton is into the wall.
Oh, a car up against the wall coming out of the corner. Oh, what a tough break for the 34-year-old from Coldwater, Michigan. You all right, Scotty?
The leaders pit. So does Tony Stewart.
Tony Stewart stalled. Tony Stewart stalled it. The reason he's having a little problem, we're running the thing so lean that to conserve fuel, that it's given us big problems leaving the pits.
The race goes green again.
We talked about the Foyt injuries, and in one fell swoop, in one lap, Tony Stewart went by both of them, and Stewart now is up to 3rd, and he is chasing down Robbie Buell. So what a ride this kid is having. Now a straightaway behind Robbie Buell. Your leader once again is Ari Leyendijk.
Robbie Buell gets Leyendijk, and the race sees its 5th lead change.
So Buell closed the 7-second gap on Ari Leyendijk and got around him going into turn 3. Boy, look at all this traffic.
Stewart gets him too.
Well, the woes continue for Ari Leyendijk. They thought they'd made a change that would help the handling on the car in the last time they were in the pits, but it's gone loose again, and he says he has got a real handful, literally. He's hanging on, but already Robbie Buell's gotten by him.
And Stewart got around Leyendijk, and then suddenly Stewart slowed down. He's up way high on the course. Buell, there he is, still the leader, and Stewart has a problem.
He's got a right front that's flat.
Stewart out of front. Put it back in 5th gear.
That's the way I like to hear a race driver. We're going to have to do some racing now. I like that.
Put her back in 5th, and let's go.
Leader Buell pits, and it's Leyendijk back on top for the 3rd time today. The lead is short-lived as Scott Sharp is hooked up, passing Leyendijk in turn 1.
Scott Sharp coming up, closing in on 2nd place, charging for the lead. Here comes Scott Sharp getting inside Ari Leyendijk, and Scott Sharp has the lead once again.
Suddenly, Jim Guthrie is into the wall in turn 2, and on his way to a spectacular but safe ride. His day is through.
Scott Sharp, the leader of the race, into the pits under this caution. This should be his last stop of the race.
And now Sharp stalls it. He stalls it. They've got to move it back in the box. Oh, this is terrible for Scott Sharp in Norwalk, Connecticut. Now you can hear Foyt yelling, push it, push it. Forget the starter, jump start it.
Longer they... Even Davey Hamilton was over the wall giving him a push.
The Foyt cars, however, are penalized a lap for entering a closed pit, and Robbie Buell is back on top. Buell's strong effort will not be rewarded today. He loses a header and is out.
You know, I wanted points out of this deal for the championship, so I'm frustrated from that standpoint, but, you know, hopefully it'll be another time to win. Hopefully the next race.
Tony Stewart has been relentless overcoming today's adversities. But on lap 168, he sits on the front stretch, the victim of a broken valve train. Now a 3-car shootout among Leyendijk, Sharp, and Groff. But the penalty has hurt the Foyt teammates, and Ari's running well.
Has Ari given you any feeling about how the car's running?
Yeah, he says it's running real well, so with a little bit of luck here, we're going to pull it home.
Ari Leyendijk, who set the track record in qualifying yesterday, is only a half lap away from picking up the victory in the Tour Loop 200. He is off the 4th corner. Dwayne Sweeney, dual checkered flags, and Ari Leyendijk wins here in Arizona.
Well, it's a good feeling. It really is.
Any special about this being Phoenix, your home now?
Oh, for sure. I got about 200 people that I bought tickets for, so they're out here now.
Scott Sharp finishes second for A.J. Foyt, his first ever podium finish.
I didn't feel the penalty was proper. I think it probably cost us the win, but what are you going to do? It's over now. Finished second. We're happy. On to Indy.
Mike Groff captures third and amidst the jubilation congratulates his teammate.
I'm ecstatic right now. I got to congratulate Ari and Scott for finishing first and second. It's our first podium finish, and I really got to thank AJ for giving me this chance here. But I feel good for myself and the team. It's great.
Richie Hearn finishes fourth, a tremendous rebound from a nearly disastrous spin.
Looking forward to the next stop?
Of course. I mean, I know how good we ran here, and unfortunately I made a little bit of a mistake, and I won't do that again for sure, and we'll just have to move on.
Even the problem with this man, Richie Hearn proved himself one hell of a driver making up that time.
I've been saying that for 3 years. It's great. He's the best, and I'm really proud to be associated with him.
For Ari Lyondike and this breed of hungry young drivers, the road to Indy is right around the next corner.
Always, yeah. Indianapolis is my favorite.
While the IRL was crowning its first two winners, a lot was happening off the track. And when the dust had settled, the future of IndyCar racing in America was about to be changed forever. In continuing its goal of lowering the cost of IndyCar racing, beginning in 1997, the Indy Racing League will switch to 4-liter normally aspirated V8 engines for all of its participants. The first to jump on board the IRL bandwagon was Oldsmobile, who announced its intentions of developing a racing version of the advanced Aurora V8.
It's our 100th anniversary, and of course, no car mark in the world living is 100 years old, and that's quite an accomplishment. And winning Indy would be kind of a crowning touch to a company that's been in business for 100 years.
With a proven record as an IMSA champion for many years, Nissan soon followed Oldsmobile's lead, and in February became the second major engine manufacturer to join the IRL fold.
Starting next season, Nissan will compete as an engine supplier in the Indy Racing League with a new power plant, a racing version of the 32-valve V8 engine found in the Infiniti Q45 luxury performance sedan.
All IRL power plants will feature a price tag of $75,000, with race teams purchasing the engines outright rather than leasing them. Engine rebuilds will now be done at a team's own shop, making the engine programs once again affordable for the masses. The second half of the IRL equation was fulfilled in April when the long-awaited 1997 chassis announcement took place at the Hall of Fame Museum. Former Formula One provider Dallara and current IndyCar technical provider G-Force Precision Engineering will both design chassis in time for the Walt Disney World Indy 200 in January of 1997.
It is very exciting because it is the first time in 30 years of racing activity, I have to try to make the fastest car as safe as possible within a defined amount of money.
To have a chance to run at the Indianapolis Speedway is absolutely fantastic. And I think if you asked any driver what race they would want to win, it would be the Indy 500. So for a company to be involved in building Indy cars to race in this IRL series, it is tremendous.
The 1997 IRL chassis will feature a taller and wider tub designed to improve driver safety, a fuel tank with less capacity, and an air induction scoop behind the driver's head that will force feed air into the IRL's normally aspirated engines. While speeds are expected to drop a bit next season, perhaps the biggest advantage of the new design will be the cost. A 1997 car, including gearbox and fuel tank, will cost $263,000, down from the current $400,000 plus price tag of an Indy car.
Everybody's worked very well together, the chassis and engines manufacturers and the league and the competitors, and it's been exciting and fun, and you know, I think we're going to see the results of that very soon.
The intention is to reduce the cost of racing from $300 per mile to $125. and a byproduct could be tighter competition. The formula will remain in effect at least through 1999. Current world sports car manufacturer Riley Scott will join in after June 1st, 1997. Now, all of these engine and chassis programs are designed to take effect at the Indy 200 at Walt Disney World in January of 1997. With that in mind, the cost of an Indy Racing League 1997 one-driver package should cost some $1 million, including 2 chassis, 4 engines, and engine rebuilds. Now, a similar kart program costs roughly $2.5 million.
For IRL, it's a level playing field. You can buy the engines, that you can buy the chassis, that you can have the same equipment, you can have the same control over your engines without this outrageous $3 or $4 million engine bill.
The simple fact is that the IRL has decided to try to broaden the base of ownership by reducing the cost of racing.
For the last 10 years, I've heard all about how the cost of IndyCar racing were going to come down, how they were going to do this, how they were going to do that, and I've seen nothing but the costs go up.
Kart is not headed that direction. I mean, basically, they're going to be the Formula One of IndyCar, and we're going to be the NASCAR of IndyCar.
Everybody keeps saying, you know, kart's got a level playing field. Level playing field, hell. There's 4 Cosworth engines. You can have the D if you're a selected group like Newman Haas or somebody else. Work with the factory, that's a special engine. Or you can have the Series 2 at $63,000 more than the average lease of that engine. Or you can have the 1.5, or you can have the 1. When you're out there trying to sell sponsors and try to tell them that you got a chance to win, you want to know you're on a level playing field. You don't want to hide it from anybody. And in the IRL, they're going after a new engine program that will put everybody on a level playing field without a question.
Now, you know, the money got so big over there, it got so much politics into it that I just didn't want it to be a glorified Formula One, and that's what they're made kart, is just a glorified Formula One. I want to run in the United States. That's where A.J. Foyt's name was made. We started branching out, kart did, to want to run here and want to run there. I love racing in the United States from the American people. That's who made me what I am today, and that's who I want to perform in front of, even with me being a car owner.
With the formula that the IRL has adopted, the field will be closer, and I think that's good for racing.
In spite of all the derogatory statements that have been made by people in kart, I've got a lot of friends over there, and the one thing they all tell me, man, is don't pay attention to anything. Just remember, you're going to the Indy 500. And the fact that guys on the other side are saying that means, I mean, that's what it's all about.
You know, for those people that have any doubt about the IRL, you know, it's here to stay, and the heck with all those car guys. We don't need them. We've got a very competitive racing series, and we proved it 2 races in a row, and we don't need them. We'll have a good race at the Speedway without them.
The checkered flag is out. Goodyear makes a move. Little Al wins by just a few tenths of a second.
You just don't know what Indy means.
The 1997 Indy 200 at Walt Disney World. For auto racing fans, this is the ultimate fairy tale come true. The breathtaking spectacle of Indy racing just a short straightaway from Cinderella's castle in the Magic Kingdom. Stay at one of Disney's magical resort hotels with free transportation to and from the race. Imagine being in the heart of Disney's 8 theme and water parks where you can have it all. January 25th, 1997, the Indy 200 at Walt Disney World. For your ticket order form, call 1-800-822-INDY.
Before we leave you here on the road to Indy, we thought we'd take you inside the manufacturing facility in Detroit, Michigan, where production continues on the 1996 Indianapolis 500 pace car, the Dodge Viper GTS Coupe.
It's a car that sort of is brash, very boastful, and a little bit disdainful as well. It sort of tells people I'm fast, I'm bad, and I really don't care who knows it, because the stripes out there let people know that here's coming a car that can really blow away anything on the street.
I'm particularly pleased at the way it came out. It's very silky, it's very easy to drive, and importantly in a situation like this, it's very easy to drive fast, and it's safe,
because it is a car designed for extremely high performance. It's obviously very much at home on this track, and it can easily deal with the speeds that are called for.
You may remember the Viper paced the field here at the Brickyard back in 1991.
There's only one Kentucky Derby, and regardless of what kind of cars you run at Indianapolis 500, there's only going to be one Indianapolis 500. And I guess my biggest downfall was that when you have a bad day here, you got to wait 1 year to come back.
So as the track opens this weekend to the sound of engines roaring down the straightaway, to the smell of burning methanol and hamburger sizzling on the backstretch, we await the Memorial Day Classic this weekend with a sense of anticipation. You know, if this old track could only talk, she'd surely tell of the stories of heroism and tragedy that have unfolded within her four corners. You see, this old racetrack doesn't care who's out here trying to get the better of her. She's here in the wintertime when the snow is knee-deep, and she's here months after the checkered flag falls when Indiana's summer sun is so hot that any thoughts of racing are better left to sipping iced tea under a cool shade tree. Indianapolis is a place where stars are made, a place where drivers become known for one special moment in time. Events that happen here help define a driver's career and, in many cases, their lives. It's time once again to go racing. Time once again for more great moments within these silent walls. Time for a new champion to be born. For the Road to Indy, I'm Bob Jenkins.
Think about the moonlight on the Wabash, how I long for my Indiana home. And let's go racing.